Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. Your piece is just so beautiful and so important. You were on a bus tour of the southern states for National Security Leaders for America. You write they needed at least one additional senior enlisted national security expert on the road, and that was me. You said, surprisingly, choosing to actively participate in the campaign rather than be the social media influencer led me to a spiritual moment I hope all of you will take into your heart. And I was just saying the irony of that I got the picture of my mom's name engraved on my dad's grave at Arlington for the first time yesterday, as I literally read your piece and was already crying. And and I also thought about the vice president there at the Ellipse, where, you wrote the book They Want to Kill Americans. That because you talk in here about your emotion after 9/11 as well, and this is a day when domestic terrorists attacked America, which I don't. You probably never thought you would see when you were, losing friends at the Pentagon and crying about that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, what I said in the article is that the emotions I'm feeling right now and that many of you are feeling right now are probably pretty close to the ones you felt on 9/11. And I was at the Pentagon, I was there all day, and by evening it was starting to overwhelm me, right? That the nation was going through a tragedy. Next Tuesday, we could all be in tears or we can all be in jubilation. And that's why I wrote that, while I was praying, God, I can't even believe what I said, while I was praying along with Washington, who is on his knees, that we need to pray. We need to not just pray, but to get up. As I said, I was inspired by Washington was saying to me, get up and fight, man. Get up and fight. And that's where we are this last week. We are at the part where we leave, as they say, nothing on the field. I met Tim Waltz last week. That was the first thing he said. We leave nothing on the field here. We're going to all fight. We had all these admirals and generals and senior enlisted there. And he was like, let's effing go.
And
that's what we all need to do now.
Did you have a moment, because I know this election is making us all a little bit crazy. Did you have a moment where you were like, I think a statue is talking to me? Can I just read some of this, though, because it's so beautiful. You just talked about your wife's grave. You said, the groundskeeping staff there know who I am. I'm the guy who hugs the white stone as if my wife stood before him. I must cut a sad spectacle, talking to and kissing and hugging the granite, but it always feels right. You just said, we always talk. It's usually a one-way conversation, but her responses sometimes reach me in my dreams. I told her the nation was in trouble. I didn't know what would come. I asked her for help. I joked that anyone she could talk to in heaven should feel free to intervene. And rapido, I laughed at the image of her asking God to ensure the success of an election, but this time it was not a joke. When I leave her, I'm usually too bereaved to do anything but cry in the car until I compose myself, but this time I was moved by an unexplainable force to walk over to the statue of General George Washington.
Can I just give you a second? Yeah. Stephanie, I want you to imagine, right? Christmas of 1776. He moves this entire army from north of Philadelphia across the frozen river. And if he fails, it all goes away. It will all end right there. Just imagine how horrible and gut-wrenching and stomach-churning the prayer he had to have given at that point. And that's exactly what I felt. We are at a point where if you're feeling anxiety, I feel it with you. If you're feeling fear, I feel it with you. If you're feeling pain and could this fail? That's happened at the biggest moments of American history with the biggest people in American history. And it's now your job to ensure that there is jubilation and victory.
This line killed me. You just said it's ironic that George Washington, the president who relinquished power when everyone wanted him to remain, should be the figure I prayed with. You said 2.5 centuries later, I found myself praying that the common sense and patriotism of the United States citizens would heed and embrace Washington's wishes and reject another mad king. Man, that's a dollop of history we needed to hear. But you just said America may be in its last week as a democratic republic. The thought moved me to the flow of tears as deep and profound as on 9/11. I fear a loss to Trump in this election will tear the very fabric of my being should America end and become a white supremacist dictatorship. And you just, you talk about this whole, like, what you felt from, Washington was stand up and fight, man. The fight I was tasked with was to do everything in my power to see General Washington's wishes were fulfilled by the people's power. You said, so now it's your turn. You must vote for your life. You may forfeit it and your rights if you do not. I mean, that's the problem. Everybody thinks like, oh, it's hyperbole. We always hear, oh, this is the most important election of our lives. I mean, we've never said this could be the last election of our lives, have we? In our history. Uh-oh. What's happening?
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I sort of...
Oh, go ahead.
My audio went to my earphones.
Uh-oh.
But look, if look, I'm going to say something. Now, here's the shouty part, all right? It's your senior chief giving you orders here, okay? There are times in your life you can sit on your butt. This ain't it. This ain't it. This is... You are voting for the continuity of the United States of America. And if you don't vote, if you just feel too tired and you know people who are registered and they just, I didn't feel like early voting, I'll vote on election day. Drag them. Do what I'm doing. Promise them pizza parties. Take them to the polls themselves and reward them with a nice lunch or margaritas or whatever bribe that you require that is not $1 million check, right? And you are about to make history.
Yeah.
This is the most dangerous week since 1860 when the nation split apart. This is not hyperbole. This is not a joke. This could all end next Tuesday. Don't leave anything on the field. Don't have any regrets. Drag everybody you know out to vote, especially in the swing states. I'm going to Philadelphia, right, where I was born and raised, where this nation started. And I do not want to cry on the steps of Independence Hall next week. I want to shout with joy on the steps of Independence Hall.
Let me read your closing. This piece, so beautiful. You got to read it, everybody. This election day, before you vote, do one last thing. Take a knee, clasp your hands, pray for a few seconds that this nation, of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not perish from this earth. Then get up and fight for America with all your heart. Leave nothing on the field, and we will prevail. We will win. It ends up being a pep talk at the end.
Yeah.
After you made us poo our pants. But you retweeted the German magazine with him doing the Sieg Heil,
Yep.
and it's like when the Germans recognize it, when all his generals say he's Hitler. I don't know what else.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
Steph, this is the single most important broadcast you've done.
Oh.
Right? The rest of this week, when you finish up next Monday, okay, that will be it.
Yeah.
Now, we're all on the enemies list. I know I am. Damn, I wrote 5 books about them.
Yeah.
And I've got those people out there saying you're on the enemies list. But you know what? It all goes away. The end of that crazy era, all we have to do is deal with J.D. Vance, and he can be managed by showing him pictures of Barca loungers. So let's go do this thing.
All right,
it's the
let's
last
do
time
it.
you're going to hear from me until Election Day.
That's
All
right.
right.
Day after Election Day. Let's go.
Yep, let's do it.
LFG.
Love you.
LFG.
Yeah, LFG. We love you, Senior Chief. See ya.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. I hope you'll join me on my new audio podcast, Justice Matters. I'll be using my 30 years as a federal prosecutor and Army JAG to unpack, break down, and explain the legal issues of the day, particularly where the legal intersects with the political. Please look for Justice Matters with Glenn Kirshner wherever you generally get your podcasts.